So hey, Rebecca.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so this is the portion of our starter episode where we kind of just get more into, just what we really want from this podcast and why I feel having this vulnerable tone is really important. Um, Andrea, see, I'm doing the Andrea is so good at getting to the heart of things. I just remember when we were doing our Scream podcast, our YouTube discussion, what you said about country music, which country music and Scream, I would never put together,
Yeah.
but talking about songs that had to do with trauma or, awful things was represented in country music.
Mhm.
And I was just like blown away. And I'm just really excited about getting into these discussions about these films and shows because I don't know. I mean, I feel like I love how you make connections to things I wouldn't think were connected, but then you illuminate it. And I just am really excited about our future conversations. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. And I think that, I did mention something about country music and murder ballads. And I feel like this has been like with murder ballads, there are stories about abuse to women that are centuries old, that are still being told. And a story is a story, whether that's told through country music or it's told through another genre of music. People keep telling these stories, and there's a gradual evolution of the exposure on this. And like you had mentioned, Step Up is opening the aperture to allow more light to come in for exposure.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is what we need to do, is kind of, like I said, vulnerability is a gift, but when it's not received and it's paired with shame, it's used as leverage. And if you are ashamed of your own truth, then you're powerless. And
Yep.
that's also an age-old trend. We've had all of history to see that violence begets violence. This is a cycle of abuse. And until it's interrupted, it's just going to continue. I mean, when you're engineering something, if you're making an engine, if you make things heavier, mass begets mass. The heavier it gets, the heavier it will be. And I think that that's the case here, that the more that we shoulder, the more that people are exasperated to the point of then turning it around and becoming the monsters themselves. It's just going to be something we're going to repeat over and over again.
Yes, I agree. And I'm just, what I was saying earlier in the introduction about how in our post Me Too era, things have been brought to the screen that have always been going on, but have never brought truth to it. And I think that's exciting because it's giving people courage to put their stories out there. And yeah, I mean, we also will touch on some brave stories that came out, like, Thelma and Louise. I always go back to Twin Peaks. I have to do my research on that a little bit more, but I feel like stories like that were about trauma that deeply connect with people, are being a lot more represented now. And I think, honestly, I think it's because we've evolved a lot. Like, I think my brain chemistry has actually changed, which seems crazy, but things that I didn't realize were problematic before, now that I've seen them on screen, I'm like, maybe that wasn't right. Maybe that shouldn't have happened. And I shouldn't have just been okay with it, And I think that's going to evolve people's minds on how they look at trauma, and also evolve how our society treats it. And I think that is very powerful. So Yeah.
100%. I completely agree. The more that we focus this lens, I mean, I remember in the 90s watching things like, Sleeping with the Enemy or Dolores Claiborne or like Thelma and Louise or movies where I was like, I mean, I'm from a very conservative small town, and that kind of, I mean, I'll never forget when Anita Hill had her deposition and everybody around me was saying that she was lying for some kind of personal gain. And that was the first inclination where I was like, she's coming forward with her truth. Why would she lie? She has everything to lose. She's sharing a vulnerability with you and you're completely negating it. And the more, again, like fiction so often tells the fact better than facts do. If somebody actually comes forward and it's an actuality, we're instantly don't want to believe it. But if it's told through the filter of fiction, for some reason, it focuses the lens a little bit more. And the more those stories come forward and the more they're normalized, the more people are empowered to tell that truth and to hear. It's not just telling your truth, it's to hear other people's truths. We are all multifaceted people with a lot of different intersecting truths, and nobody is just one thing. And that's what I loved about I May Destroy You or I'll Be Gone in the Dark, is that it opened up that perspective to allow a more of an honest lens, not just something that's black and white, all the colors.
No, I agree. And as we close this starter episode, I want to kind of share with you how we'll be playing this out. Every episode, we will choose a show or a film to focus on. And one of us will be kind of like, I guess, the experts. And we also are really excited about bringing guests on to further the conversation, because we don't want the dialogue to just be our voices. I mean, Cinema Femme started because I was tired of, seeing middle-aged, white, straight men get all the platforms. And I just was like, there's so many other opinions out there and there's so many other stories. And I wanted Cinema Femme to be a platform for diversity and women and non-binary people. So, once we get into the, nitty gritty, I feel like having people that are more deeply connected to these shows and, stories and films will really bring, shine a light on things a little deeper, if that makes sense. So.
Yes, I'm super excited to be able to bring this subject, give a little bit more light to the subject.
Yes. So stay tuned, and we are just so excited. And we'll see you soon. And this is also a podcast too, so we'll have more details than that. Stay tuned.
Yay!
All right. See you later.
See ya.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, cool.